Diplomacy is about alcohol, protocol, and geritol. Relationship between China and Pakistan, tandem that they have traditionally had, is a matter of great concern to us.
How do you think that, how should India's defense strategy evolve now after seeing all this?
We have concerns about the global order, about the very structure, about the challenges now being posed by arbitrary tariffs, for example. I was a very young boy, maybe around 7 years old, when I actually decided to join the Indian Foreign Service. I was always interested in foreign languages, which is something that attracted me towards the Foreign Service. Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, appointed me as India's ambassador to Japan. मैं अकेला एक डिप्लोमेट था कि जो दोनों चाइनीज और जापानीज जानता था. ये जो अस्थिरता का वातावरण है वो वैश्विक स्वरूप ले रहा है और इसमें भारत जो है, आत्मनिर्भरता does not mean, self-sufficiency, but it does mean self-reliance.
How much of the diplomacy is strategy and how much is the psychology?
Foreign service, despite being a small service, it punches above its weight.
Hello everyone, welcome to LevelUp IAS UPSC Podcast. So today we are so honored to have with us Ambassador Chinoy Sir. He's a career diplomat who has devoted nearly 4 decades to Indian Foreign Service, representing India across global platforms and to the foreign capitals. If we talk about Ambassador Chinoy, he has served as India's ambassador to Japan from 2015 to 18. And prior to that, he was ambassador to Mexico along with Belize. So his diplomatic experience, it covers a wide range of areas like bilateral or multilateral diplomacy, international trade, regional security, and some of the boundary negotiations and cultural exchanges. Currently, he is serving as the DG of Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defence Studies and Analysis, which is India's foremost think tank for research in international relations, strategic and securities issues. So let's begin the conversation with Sir without wasting much time. Hello Sir, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Pooja?
I am good, Sir. How are you?
Me too. Very well, thank you.
It's my privilege today to have you here with us at LevelUp IAS on this podcast, Sir. आपने कब सोचा था to join the service?
Well, that's a good question. ये सवाल बहुत अच्छा है. I was a very young boy, maybe around 7 years old, when I actually decided to join the Indian Foreign Service.
Too young.
And yes, too young, very young. And you might ask, how is it that a young child of 7 years of age would decide on a career path? In my case, it had something to do with my mother. And my mother greatly encouraged me to join the Indian Foreign Service. In fact, she used to regularly say, when you grow up, you're going to join not the IAS, not the IPS, but the IFS. So I kind of took it for granted, without knowing anything about the Indian Foreign Service, that when I actually grew up as an adult, I would join the Indian Foreign Service. But as fate turned out, this goal remained consistent, and from school to university, and I did write the civil service exam in 1980 when I was just 21 plus, and I got in first shot. I got the service that I always wanted. That
and
was
in the very
Indian Foreign
first attempt. So it's commendable.
Incidentally, I did not fill up any other services except 3 in my form. My first choice was the Indian Foreign Service. My second choice was the Indian Administrative Service. And my third and last choice was the Indian Police Service. After that, I had left everything blank. And there was no question of my joining the civil services if I didn't get one of the 3.
And so talking about you, Ambassador Sujan R. Chinoy, who generally an ambassador is? अगर हम एक citizen को बताना चाहें कि ambassador होते कौन है?
So ambassador एक देश का प्रतिनिधि होता है और अपने देश को represent करता है. कई गलत फहमियां भी है कि डिप्लोमेसी में क्या करते हैं लोग, डिप्लोमेट क्या करते हैं. तो एक यूएस के एम्बेसडर हुआ करते थे, उनका नाम था अडलाई स्टीवनसन. 1960s, he was one of the well-known US diplomats. And this was an era of the 1950s and 60s when diplomacy was still the purview of elderly gentlemen dressed in pin-striped suits like the one that I'm wearing right now, holding cigars in their hands and negotiating big things for their countries. And so Adlai Stevenson is known to have once quipped in a lighter moment that diplomacy is about alcohol, protocol, and geritol. But this is, of course, in a lighter moment because people associate diplomats with diplomatic parties and think that that's all they do, which is not true. They also believe that there is a lot of protocol. Well, yes, there is some protocol, but it's not as if you spend your life doing protocol. And geritol in those days was an American tonic, which the elderly took in order to keep going every day. So he had famously said that diplomacy is 1/3 alcohol, 1/3 protocol, and 1/3 geritol. In the 70s, in India, this jocular statement was turned around a bit because we had a very famous diplomat from the Indian Civil Services, the ICS officer, and he was the Foreign Secretary of India. His name was Ambassador T.N. Call. He was known as Tiki Call. He was very close to Mrs. Indira Gandhi, called her by her first name even when he was Foreign Secretary and she was the Prime Minister, because they were family friends. So people used to say that in India, diplomacy is now all about alcohol, protocol, and tea and call. Because those were his initials. But let me be more serious about it. So diplomacy is not about alcohol, it's not about protocol, and it's not about individuals. It is about representing your country and working to advance the nation's overall strategic goals and objectives that cover diverse fields, from projecting soft power to promoting exports, to bringing in foreign direct investment. So trade and economic work, commercial work is extremely important. Projecting India's policies, also working on important bilateral agreements, sometimes trying to resolve bilateral disputes. For example, between India and China, you have the boundary dispute, so diplomacy gets into that. Diplomacy is about preventing wars. Diplomacy is about resolving problems. Diplomacy is about deepening engagement for mutual benefit. And if you look at diplomacy today, there are new aspects to it because you are also deeply engaged with the vast Indian diaspora abroad. You have more than 32, 33 million Indians residing in different parts of the world. They consider those lands to be their karma bhumi, even if India was once their janma bhumi. And these are people that you must engage without standing on any kind of ceremony. Embassies today, thanks to the current government, have become open houses now. People can walk in. Diplomats are expected to work on weekends also to deliver good service to the people. You have to look after the visa and consular requirements of not just the host country and its people who wish to travel to your country, but also the diaspora.
And so we usually see consulates and embassies. What's the difference between both of them?
So embassies are in the capital city, and the embassy is a superior body as compared to the consulate general or consulate. In a hierarchical order, you would say that the embassy is generally the largest one. That's where the ambassador or the high commissioner sits. If it's a high commissioner, it's usually in a Commonwealth. Only in a Commonwealth country that you would call your ambassador a high commissioner. Okay. A high commissioner is nothing but an ambassador. Apart from the embassy in the capital city, you have in other cities around a host country, you have consulates general. You can have a consul general of India. He or she who is a consul general of India may also be a senior diplomat. I was twice the consul general of India with about 19 years of service. That is joint secretary level. I was consul general of India in Shanghai and later in Sydney. And you normally work on trade, economic and consular issues in the Consulate General of India. And then you have consulates where the designation is lower than that of the Consul General of India.
Okay. So that's the hierarchy: consulates, consul general, and then the embassies here. Okay. And talking more about the diplomacy, how much of the diplomacy is strategy and how much is the psychology?
I think it's both, because without a proper strategy, you cannot really connect with any country or its people. And psychology is also very important because diplomacy is also about dealing with fellow human beings. Even if there are ideological differences between the systems followed in your country or in a foreign country, at the end of the day, whether you are in a communist country or you are in a country ruled by the military or a single party, you are still dealing with human beings. And human beings, at the end of the day, are quite similar, regardless of these essential differences. So psychology is very important. You learn the language of that country. In any case, in the foreign service, it's compulsory to learn one foreign language. When you're not confirmed in service, following your probation, you're not confirmed in service unless you've cleared the compulsory foreign language. In my case, it was Chinese. I've chosen Chinese.
But you've learned other languages also. You know, how many languages you know, sir?
I was always interested in foreign languages, which is something that attracted me towards the foreign service, because it gave me a chance to, interact with different types of people around the world. And so actually, from very early on, I spent a great deal of time, energy, and money to learn languages without having joined the foreign service. So when I first went to Baroda for my university, I went to the Maharaja Sayajirao University in Baroda, straight from the Rajkumar College in Rajkot, which, as I told you, was a fairly elite public school, as in a boarding school.
Yes.
And I joined the, Max Muller Bhavan there for evening classes in German.
Okay.
Way back in 1975. I did a diploma for 2 years, which was quite apart from my degree at the university. And I topped that course. And then I spent a great deal of my time and energy on lingvophones. I invested a lot of money in something called a lingvophone. A lingvophone was a set of records and books that you could buy. In those days, a lingvophone set could cost as much as 400 rupees. It's quite expensive for a university student.
Right.
You could buy a Royal Enfield motorcycle for 5,000 rupees. So spending 400 rupees on a lingvophone was a lot of money.
So उस समय pocket money भी मिलता होगा आपको?
I had some pocket money, but I also used to do summer jobs to earn a little money. I remember one of my first jobs while in Baroda was with Alembic Company's glass manufacturing unit. It's a brand called Yera. And I did a summer job there. Unfortunately, they didn't pay me in money. At the end of my summer job, they took me to their warehouse and said, take all the glassware you want. I said, look, but how many glasses can I, or flasks can I take from here? Yeah. So I took a couple of sets, but that wasn't good money. But there were other jobs, odd jobs that I was ready to do. Anyhow, coming back to lingvophones. So I also studied French. Then when I shifted to Ahmedabad, to Gujarat University for my MBA, I got a scholarship from Gujarat University to go as an exchange student to Japan in 1978 on a cultural exchange program, all found, except for the airfare, which I had to request my father to fund me.
And was it the first time you went outside the country?
Yes, second time, because in the summer of 1978, after graduating from university at the age of 19, I actually was backpacking in Nepal. Well, Nepal was considered foreign in those days. It is foreign. It's
Yes.
a sovereign, independent country.
Yes.
But because of the close relations we have with Nepal and an open border and the
Sometimes.
cultural affinities, roti beti ka rishta and all that,
Ji.
we feel close to the Nepalese, they feel close to us, we have similarities. So it wasn't like exactly going to the United States of America or to Europe.
Yeah.
But for me, it was still a foreign visit because I had to, cross the border and go into Nepal. But my first real trip overseas to a far-off foreign country was to Japan. And for a 20-year-old to go to Japan in 1978, it left a very deep impression on me.
Okay.
Because Japan then was at the peak of its economic growth and development.
True.
The university to which I went was full of people of my age, Japanese youngsters, who drove themselves in nice little cars. Such was the level of prosperity. And they had the bullet train even then. They had a very beautiful, clean country. Everything according to, SOPs, standard operating procedures. And the Japanese are perfectionists in regard to whatever they do. There was so much to learn. And I came back and I kept up my love for the Japanese language. Though when I joined the Foreign Service,
Yeah.
I chose Chinese as my compulsory.
I was
foreign language,
wanting
yeah.
to ask that question also. So when you joined the services or when you were in Japan, उस समय कभी सोचा था that I'll be coming back here as an ambassador one day? Of
Yes.
course.
Yes.
Okay.
As things, it may sound counterintuitive, मगर ये हकीकत है कि उस वक्त भी ये सोच मेरे ध्यान में आई थी, ज़हन में आई थी. When I was on the campus in Japan, एक योमियुरी शिम्बुन करके वहाँ का जाना माना न्यूज़पेपर है, उन्होंने मुझे इंटरव्यू किया था.
Okay.
कि आप अपने कॉलेज के स्टडीज खत्म करने के बाद करियर कैसे बनाना चाहते हैं, क्या करना चाहते हैं लाइफ में. तो मैंने उनको जापानीज में भी उस वक्त एक इंटरव्यू दिया था.
Okay.
कि मैं भारतीय राजदूत बनना चाहता हूँ, मैं एक डिप्लोमेट बनना चाहता हूँ. ये 20 साल की उम्र पे मैंने वहाँ जापानीज में इंटरव्यू दिया था. उसका कटिंग मेरे पास आज भी है. और हकीकत भी ऐसी हुई कि कुछ 37 इयर्स के बाद, उसके बाद 2015 में प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया श्री नरेंद्र मोदी अपॉइंटेड मी एज इंडियाज एम्बेसडर टू जापान. हालांकि ये भी सोच थी कि भारतीय विदेश सेवा में शायद मैं अकेला एक डिप्लोमेट था कि जो दोनों चाइनीज और जापानीज जानता था. तो रिलेशंस हैव ऑलवेज बीन गुड. तो मैं 2015 में जापान गया. तब जो व्हील है, जो चक्र है, वो पूरा complete हुआ.
Right. And talking about the change, we see that there's some change. Do you see any change in the diplomacy now? Or has there been the transformation in the diplomacy जो उस समय था और अभी के diplomats के लिए? What are those changes and the challenges now?
तो यूँ कह सकते हैं कि जो जिस ज़माने में मैंने इंडियन फॉरेन सर्विस ज्वाइन की, वो एक एनालॉग ज़माना था. आज का ज़माना जो है वो डिजिटल ज़माना है. तो फ़र्क ये है कि वो एक स्लो ज़माना था. उस वक्त डिप्लोमेट्स जब पोस्टेड होते थे फॉरेन कंट्रीज में, 1950s में, 60s में, बाद में तो ये बंद हो गया, मगर लोग स्टीमर से जाते थे, शिप पे जाते थे अपनी पोस्टिंग पे. तो वॉयज होता था और उस वक्त आप लेजरली काम कर सकते थे, रिपोर्ट्स बनते थे, उसको आप डिप्लोमेटिक बैग में डालते थे, 3 हफ्ते के बाद वो रिपोर्ट दिल्ली में मिलता था, उसको खोल के लोग पढ़ते थे, पॉलिसी बनाते थे। आज का ज़माना जो है वो एक इंस्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन का ज़माना है। और आपने देखा है कि with the advent of television in our living rooms, first brought to India in stark terms by CNN during the first Gulf War. फिर सोशल मीडिया जो है, व्हाट्सएप से लेके एक्स है, फेसबुक है, इंस्टाग्राम है, ये इंफॉर्मेशन का जो फ्लो है वो आज ऐसा हो गया है कि आप पुराने जमाने की डिप्लोमेसी की जो स्टाइल थी उस हिसाब से काम नहीं कर सकते हैं। आपको मीडिया से भी आगे रहना पड़ता है कई बार, और आपको हेडक्वार्टर्स को भी सही तरीके से शिफ्ट करके इंफॉर्मेशन और असेसमेंट्स देने होते हैं। आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा आपको मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन भी मिलता है।
राइट।
सो मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन, डिसइन्फॉर्मेशन, इनएक्यूरेट मोटिवेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन, तो इस सब को सिफ्ट करके आजकल डिप्लोमेट्स का काम है कि पॉलिटिकल असेसमेंट देना, इकोनॉमिक असेसमेंट देना, कॉन्सुलर असेसमेंट्स देना, ये बहुत ज़रूरी हो गया है।
And we see that in this unstable world today, how do you see the situation at present?
So currently, as you know, the world is going through a great deal of flux. The global order is under stress, and there is a very high degree of uncertainty. And this is essentially because the global order as we know it, represented by the United Nations since 1945, is no longer able to deliver public good, especially with regard to, for example, peace, security, and progress, and addressing, say, conflicts, etc., because of major power, contestation, and conflict. This is the only system we have, the United Nations. And it is a system that has worked quite well, but it's not exactly perfect either. The United Nations is a system that was set up in 1945 by the victors of the Second World War. And inherent in the establishment of the United Nations was a degree of inequality also. Now, the US, of course, as you know, was the big power that actually helped curate the United Nations, along with the United Kingdom and a few other important players. And over the last 80 years, it appears that under President Trump, now the US has reached a conclusion that others have benefited more than the US has benefited from this rules-based order, the normative order represented by the United Nations. So you can see today that President Trump is trying to set up new structures, as seen in the Board of Peace proposal. He's trying to re-establish the primacy of the United Nations as the reigning hegemon in the world today, and to press the reset button in terms of the US engagement with different countries, whether friends or foe alike. तो ये जो अस्थिरता का वातावरण है वो वैश्विक स्वरूप ले रहा है, और इसमें भारत जो है वो एक स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी के आधार पर चल रहा है, और वसुधैव कुटुंबकम के प्रिंसिपल पर चल रहा है। और जो बाइनरी चॉइसेस हमें देखने को मिल रही है कि या तो यूएसए के साथ चलो, या फिर चाइना के साथ चलो, कि रशिया के साथ चलो, इसमें भारत एक ऐसा देश है, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में, कि हम एक अलग से थर्ड वे भी एक दिखाना चाहते हैं, बियॉन्ड द बाइनरी चॉइसेस। और वो जो थर्ड वे जो है वो एक ऐसा है कि भाई वैल्यूज बेस्ड फ्यूचर फॉर ह्यूमन काइंड का एक भविष्य हम बनाना चाहते हैं। इसमें हमने हमारी जो स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी है वो संभाल के रखी है, और आगे भी मैं मानता हूँ कि इसी प्रिंसिपल पे हम आगे हमारी कूटनीति को इम्प्लीमेंट करें.
And talking about European Union, as you said, trade deal with European Union, which is being said the mother of all deals now. So how do you see this and how it's going to benefit India, this signing of this deal?
So at a time when the EU is also trying to establish some strategic autonomy of its own vis-a-vis the US, it looks upon India as a large market, as a large destination for investments, and they're betting on India's future as a very important economy in the world. So I see a very bright future ahead for India EU ties, particularly through this visit.
And many people, they feel that suddenly geopolitics has entered into their daily lives. We see that the prices of oil affecting people, and the gold prices, silver prices, and because of some social media narratives that have been created, people use Instagram, common people, they're watching everything. So if you have to explain India's foreign policy to a common man, how would you explain that today?
Well, the first point is that there is no isolation that anyone can afford. Today, in a globalized world, even if there are certain features of the current world order that are anti-globalization, even so, the world is already highly globalized. And globalization is like a genie that once out of the bottle cannot be put back into the bottle. It is like nuclear weapons technology. It cannot be unlearned.
Right.
You cannot forget, the advancements and the technology that humankind has made with regard to, say, weapons of mass destruction. You can't press the delete button on that.
Yes.
And so we live in a globalized world. And there is today a great deal of seamless connect between what happens within a country and what happens outside of a country.
Yes.
So whether in terms of, issues like trade, technology, terrorism, you have so much of engagement with the outside world, from economic to security dimensions. So we have to remember whether it is, water resources, whether it is critical supply chains, whether it is territorial issues with neighbors, whether it is broader issues to do with cyber security and counter-terrorism, the economic and commercial relationship, bringing in foreign direct investment. Everyone in India is connected to the outside world.
Yes.
And more so today because you have the social media platforms which bring you instant information about things happening in various parts of the world. Today you have this very strange phenomenon of transnational constituencies that have developed, which are not, directly linked to, not necessarily to their national identity or national cause, but to what they believe in personally or ideologically as international causes. Wokeism was part of that. There are NGOs, there are private groups today that connect with other people around the world.
Right.
The youth especially connect and have some kind of a common view about international issues as well. So you cannot live in an ivory tower today. There's no escaping the fact that the world is really quite a small village. भारत में जो ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज है वो सबसे बेहतरीन, सबसे अच्छे हैं हमारे. मगर हम देखते हैं कि कई लोग अपनी पढ़ाई लिखाई इंडिया में करते हैं और सेवा करते हैं किसी और देश की. यदि यही लोग अगर हमारे देश में रह के कुछ बिजनेस करें या सिविल सर्विसेज ज्वाइन करें या कुछ और करें, टीचर्स बने, कुछ और करें, तो हमारा जो ये विकसित भारत का जो लक्ष्य है वो हम और कॉन्फिडेंस से अचीव कर सकते हैं.
राइट. So currently you're serving as DG of Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defense Studies and Analysis. तो आप उसके बारे में थोड़ा हमको बताना चाहेंगे, how does it work? That it's one of the largest think tank that works on the defense, on the security, international relations. तो वो उसके बारे में कुछ बताना चाहेंगे?
So as you know, the Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis was set up in 1965 after two wars, the India-China War of 1962 and the India-Pakistan War of 1965. It was felt that we needed a think tank that would be independent of government, yet one which would have adequate resources and would not have to go here and there looking for resources. One that would be capable of doing deep research and coming up with policy options for government to consider on the most difficult of issues. The spectrum covered by IDSA, and we've just completed 60 years of our existence. Thank you very much. So the spectrum covers defense, national security, and IR.
Yes.
We work at the confluence of all three. And we are funded by the government, but we have our own autonomy as a society registered under the Societies Registration Act of 1860 as modified for Delhi. And I am, for example, an appointee of the Appointments Committee of the Cabinet in the same rank as an equivalent to a secretary to the government of India. Of course, that was the last rank that I held for many years in the government of India as a grade 1 ambassador also. And so IDSA is actually India's largest think tank. And we have a mix of serving and former armed forces officers, civil servants, etc., and also geographic and thematic subject experts and scholars. We also have an internship program, which is very popular with university students, especially those who are postgraduates and PhD students. They find their internship with IDSA to be a springboard for better things to come. तो IDSA में अगर किसी ने इंटर्नशिप भी अगर 6 महीना 1 साल की है तो उनको जॉब मार्केट में भी प्रॉस्पेक्ट्स बहुत अच्छे होते हैं.
So I believe, sir, you have such a huge responsibility. So are you feeling retired after actually getting retired from the service? I don't think so.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
In fact, this year I have now I'm in my 45th year of service to the nation.
Yes.
45 saal without a break.
Continuously working.
That's right. So there's been no break at all.
Yes.
And I must say that all 45 years have been immensely satisfying for me. 37 and a half years in the Indian Foreign Service.
Yes.
Because I joined very young. So I had, from 22 plus to 60.
And many more years to come.
And then, 7 years as Director General of the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis, where in fact my, job profile has become even more interesting.
Yes, true.
And I deal with a vast array of subjects that I never dealt with as, an ambassador. So now I deal with many more things. So the point is, I travel to border areas, I travel to startups and PSUs around the country. I was a member of the DRDO Review Committee in 2023, apart from being the Think 20 chair for India's G20.
Yes.
And the G20 was all about financial and economic issues. And so that gave me a very different outlook.
And talking about India, Pakistan, I've read that you were the member of MP's delegates also that went to UAE.
Yes, I was a member of the All-Party Delegation in the aftermath of Pahalgam.
Yes, sir.
The government of India sent a number of all-party delegations. I was a member as well.
Yes.
And our group went to UAE, followed by DR Congo, Sierra Leone, and Liberia in West
Right.
Africa.
West Africa. So how was the experience? So समय क्या माहौल था? What all things that you can tell us? वो कुछ बताना चाहेंगे उसके बारे में?
So as you know that Pakistan-sponsored terrorists had mounted a horrific attack on innocent tourists in Pahalgam, killing many. And the world obviously needed to know more about Pakistan's nefarious activities, its use of terrorism as part of its toolkit to deal with India, the manner in which Pakistan has been trying to destabilize India through acts of terrorism. And the story had to be told to the rest of the world. In fact, when Mr. Kapil Sibal invited me to go on his show, Dil Se, he asked me, what exactly did you achieve? And I said very frankly to his insinuation that none of these countries had openly condemned Pakistan. I told him that we were not there to measure our performance against whether they openly condemn Pakistan or not.
Right.
The idea was to go out onto the world stage to different capitals to engage presidents, vice presidents, foreign ministers, members of parliament, social media influencers, think tankers, academia, and to tell them the dastardly story of Pak-sponsored terrorism.
Right.
And to sensitize them to this aspect. And I must tell you that we succeeded 100%.
True. And
everywhere we engaged people, they in fact knew a lot about Pak-sponsored terrorism.
I think people know a lot.
They know a lot, in fact, and they were deeply appreciative that we had come there and given them the hard facts of what had happened, and they profusely thanked us for sensitizing them. Incidentally, the countries were selected very carefully because many of them were either members of the UN Security Council or members to be of the UN Security Council, and some of them were members of the Islamic world and the OIC countries. So it was vital that we go and narrate this story.
And I think that's where the experience of being a diplomat, it comes to the forefront, because and ऐसा कुछ था कि diplomats का role वहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा रहा हो, and you must be knowing how to convey your our side.
We had a very good mix of age and experience with youth and exuberance. And so all members of our group performed equally well. I was there as, of course, a senior former diplomat to add that touch as well. And we learned a great deal from one another as well. I learned a great deal from being in the company of members of parliament.
And if you talk about the conflicts, today's conflicts, they extend far beyond the battlefield, because we see that the social media narratives, as I discussed before, we recently saw the private satellite networks like Starlink handling some of the issues in Iran. And so how do you think how should India's defense strategy evolve now after seeing all this? Because the involvement of non-state actors, the private players, it's increasing now.
So technological sovereignty is very important. We must be capable of having our own IP. We must enhance our research and development in the country. Today, India spends only about 0.67% of its GDP on R&D.
Yes.
We need to greatly enhance our R&D budget. We need to have our own technologies. We need to have sovereignty in terms of our own critical supply chains. including in defense equipment. That is why the government of India has been emphasizing Atmanirbharta in defense manufacturing in the country.
Yes.
You cannot fight the wars of tomorrow if your supply chains are in the hands of others.
Right.
We went through this once, if you recall, during the Kargil
Kargil
War.
Right.
We had to go around at the 11th hour looking for howitzer ammunition for the Bofors gun, which had performed very well
Yes.
in the Kargil War, even in direct fire role.
Hmm.
But the 155 howitzer ammunition was in short supply. And I recall distinctly that government of India had to post haste procure some from South Africa and elsewhere. So the moral of the story here is that India must have a certain high degree of Atmanirbharta. Atmanirbharta does not mean, self-sufficiency, but it does mean self-reliance.
Right.
Self-sufficiency means that you close the doors to everything that is external. But Atmanirbharta has enough space for foreign collaboration also, except that we must encourage the manufacturing to take place in India.
I think now we've started doing
That's
enough.
right.
We are, and in coming future, we will be able to achieve the self-reliance.
Exactly. So this applies to rare earths, applies to critical minerals. We have to get our act together with regard to, for example, deep seabed mining.
Yes.
A lot of work is being done there. We've got to make sure that, for example, fighter aircraft, we can make very nice airframes and all that, but we still haven't been able to make a reliable fighter aircraft engine. The Kaveri engine, on which a great deal of money was spent, is a good engine, but it is underpowered. It does not meet the requirements of, for example, the LCA, Mark 1, Mark 1A or Mark 2.
Yes,
and so therefore, if you recall, the Prime Minister of India, no less, said from the ramparts of the Red Fort on the 15th of August 2025 that India must undertake to produce its own fighter aircraft engine in the near future. This is a very important statement. It now puts all our DPSUs on notice that in mission mode you have to create a fighter aircraft engine. So do you want for the next 30 years to be buying someone else's engine?
No, of course not.
So you have to make your own. So this is very important. Technological independence is vital in my view.
So you've written extensively on the global power shifts.
I've written 2 books.
Yes. I will show it to the viewers
World
also.
Upside Down, India recalibrates its geopolitics. And Global Tumult, India as a pole star.
So which country or region you see as India's biggest challenge today?
Well, I think, to be honest, the challenge comes from both the neighborhood and afar. Let me try to put it into context. Right. I think the immediate challenge for India is to have rapid economic growth, a peaceful periphery, and an overall climate of external engagement, including with neighbors and with major powers, that is conducive to India's rapid economic growth and development. Right. So the neighborhood challenge, of course, you can split it up into essentially the challenge of the rise of China, its economic rise, which is now also a military rise, the fact that China and India have certain issues, disputes that have not been settled, like the boundary question is one.
Right.
The relationship between China and Pakistan, the tandem that they have traditionally had, is a matter of great concern to us, and it was fairly highlighted during the conflict that we had last year in Operation Sindoor.
Right.
Then we have the question of China having spilled over into South Asia without transparency. Now, they may think it's the most natural thing to happen because China's become the world's second largest economy. It has trade and economic ties to countries of South Asia.
Right.
It has vital sea lines of communication going through the Indian Ocean, and therefore China must be on good relations and must be present in various countries of South Asia. But the problem from our point of view is that China's spillover presence in the Indian Ocean, for example, or in South Asia is without adequate transparency. The other challenge is Pakistan, which is one of India's oldest challenges.
Right.
And there we have a very potent mix of this visceral hatred that the Pakistani army seems to have for India.
Yeah.
Hatred for India is the glue that holds, in their view, Pakistani society together. So Pakistan and Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, Pakistan's interference in the internal affairs of India in Jammu and Kashmir, all this is an abiding concern.
Yes.
But further afar, we have broader concerns beyond South Asia, beyond what is happening in Bangladesh, beyond what is happening in Nepal. We have concerns about the global order, about the very structure, about the challenges now being posed by arbitrary tariffs, for example.
Yes.
Or the chokeholds on critical supply chains. If it is arbitrary tariffs by the United States, it is what you call chokeholds on supply chains by China.
Right.
And so these are challenges that we must deal with. We must also deal with hypocrisy. When the West expected India to refrain from buying any kind of energy from Russia, they forgot that many of them were still buying energy from Russia.
Yes.
So we have to deal with the world's hypocrisy also. We have to deal with attempts to malign our strategic autonomy. I remember when I wrote the second book, Global Tumult, India as a Pole Star, I requested a well-known American scholar, I don't want to name the scholar, for a blurb. And the scholar said, I value our friendship, but I'm unable to give you a blurb because in this book you're talking about India's strategic autonomy. You're talking about the importance of India's civilizational history and values, about India forging a values-based future for the global South.
My God.
And this goes against the grain of our understanding of our interpretation of history and the global order in which the West prevails. And I said, this is absurd.
Yeah.
That you will not give a blurb because you cannot accept the rise of India as an independent, pole in its own regard. And so we live in a world that is difficult at the best of times.
Right. And we hear, nowadays we hear a lot about the weaponization of dollar. US is trying to push its authority through the dollar diplomacy. And the nations who try to challenge it, they try to push their own currency. So is there any possibility of the democratization of currency in the near future?
Look, as things stand, it is a given that the United States of America continues to be a hyperpower. Even in a relatively flatter world, even in such a world, the United States of America is the number one economy in the world. And the dollar has ruled the roost ever since we saw globalization take place in real earnest. And I don't think that's about to change anytime soon. There is some sort of, effort or desire on the part of certain countries. Perhaps one can say these ideas are more prevalent in Moscow and in Beijing, that there should be an alternative, that there should be, for example, something like a BRICS currency, or that the Chinese yuan could be, denominated as some kind of a preferred currency as an alternative. But I think all that is still very much in the realm of fantasy, because the dollar still rules the roost. If you look at energy trade, it is in dollars. If you look at most of the commodities trade around the world, it is in US dollars.
Right.
And so I think the dollar will remain unchallenged for the foreseeable future. That does not prevent countries like India or others from engaging in some kind of barter trade or for settling bilateral trade through other means. But I think we are far from de-dollarization yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
So recently we saw, sir, that Japan's ambassador to India, he was in India, and we saw some of the videos.
Keiichi Ono, Mr.
Yes.
Keiichi Ono.
Yes, Mr. Ono Kichi, yes, Keiichi Ono. So we saw that we saw some of the clips where he was having the food through his hand, and it was taken as a very positive thing by the viewers and by the citizens of India also. So I just wanted to know that during your tenure as ambassador to Japan, were there any such similar moments, and how necessary is it? How is being taken by the people?
So firstly, let me say that Ambassador Ono Keiichi is a very close friend of mine.
Oh.
And he's an outstanding diplomat. He was also the G20 Sherpa for Japan in one of his previous assignments. And so all credit to him that he should take a deep dive into Indian culture. And this is what you call cultural immersion.
Yes, he was very comfortably having
very
that
comfortable
food.
And he also candidly admitted that some Indian friend also told him the right way of the technical way of not only eating with your hand, with your fingers, but also how you can push the food very neatly into your mouth.
Was it you, the friend?
No. He has a wide circle of friends as a popular ambassador. But so I think we should give him credit, and that really speaks for our special strategic and economic, special strategic and global partnership between India and Japan.
Right.
I must say that someone like me has also spent my entire life while dealing with China and with Japan using chopsticks to eat.
You must be very comfortable now with the chopsticks.
Yes, I'm very comfortable. I can pick up peanuts very rapidly, one by one, with a pair of chopsticks and eat peanuts. And that's the ultimate test. If you can pick this, peanuts, which are round and quite slippery and can fall off with chopsticks. So the point I'm making is that, yes, as a diplomat, I have also done the same thing. When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Yes.
So therefore, when in India, you do as the Indians do. When you are in Japan, you do as what the Japanese do.
I think all those diplomats who come to India, they should have food like that only then. Would you like to recommend any place where we can have good Japanese food in Delhi?
I think the best place for Japanese food in Delhi is Ambassador Ono Keiichi's residence. But I don't think everybody will be invited there.
Yeah.
It's not practical. He's a very generous man, but it's not practical.
This podcast must have been viewed by many of the aspirants who they will be viewing the podcast. They will be listening to you. So they must be thinking that अभी तो बहुत सुनने के बाद ऐसा हो गया है जैसे जिनका preference foreign service नहीं भी होगा. I think they would want to be in Indian foreign service.
देखिए एक तो साफ बात है कि foreign service, despite being a small service, it punches above its weight. If you go back to my time, for example, foreign service was the first choice for many of us. When I joined the civil services, I could have joined any service. I had a high enough rank. If I had chosen the IAS, I would have been the senior most, youngest, senior most, and I would have got my home state, Gujarat. I could have walked in as the senior most in my batch, the youngest, and got my home state. But I wanted the foreign service. I didn't want the IAS. The question did not arise in my mind even for a moment that I would want to join the... Of course, it's a great service, the IAS, and very honorable service like all other services. But I wanted the foreign service, and for very clear reasons in my mind. Number one. Number two, we must keep in mind that this is a service which has produced one president and two vice presidents, any number of ministers, any number of governors. And so you're aware that President K.R. Narayanan was a Indian Foreign Service officer. He had also been vice president. And to add to that, we also had Ambassador Hamid Ansari, who was also vice president of India for 10 years. And governors galore from Ambassador S.K. Singh to Ambassador Romesh Bhandari, ministers from,
Hardeep Singh Puri,
Dr. Jaishankar to Sri Hardeep Puri to Sri Manishankar Iyer, and so many. So it's a small service, but it punches above its weight.
And that's my next question is, so what are the 3 good things and what are the 3 not so good things about being a diplomat?
Well, I think it's really essentially good things. The good thing is that you have a chance to see the world. Now, you could argue that today you can see the world by simply going as a tourist, but it's not the same thing.
Yes, of course, it's not the same.
And you can go out as a member of the diaspora, but it's not the same thing. So you get a chance to, actually see the world through the lens of being an envoy or a plenipotentiary with a connect to a very different part of those countries and those establishments. And it could be the president of one country, it could be the emperor of Japan.
Yes.
I mean, I've been honored and privileged to have had tea with the emperor of Japan. Right, so that's something that's unique. Now, it's not that you join the foreign service because you want to have tea with the president or tea with the emperor. But I'm just giving you an example. It gives you a chance to remain an intellectual and be scholarly all your life. Reading and writing, which is so important to the growth of a human being, is very much an integral part of the foreign service. The other great thing about the foreign service is that foreign service teaches you humility. You must be ready as a representative of your country abroad to be able to do all kinds of work. Right. You must be a specialist, as many of us end up being. I, for one, can be called a China specialist, for example, or now on defense and politico-military matters. But foreign service officers are also jack of all trades. They can do many jobs. And we don't stand on ceremony. Foreign service officers have no difficulty getting into the nitty-gritty of work in a mission or doing a clerk's job also, say before an audit or before an inspection or before a high-level visit. So humility, modesty are also great qualities that we teach our foreign service officers. Because I do believe very firmly that, when you join the civil services, it should be with the idea of service to the nation. We must, whether it's the foreign service or any other service, we must cast aside the colonial trappings. Material benefits are important, but we don't have to have colonial trappings. This includes the foreign service or any other service. So there are many good things about the foreign service. If you say what's the downside, I'd say, well, if you insist, I would say that the changes from one country to another can be quite sort of absolute, that you can go from one hemisphere to the other. So one downside is that your wardrobe keeps changing all the time. And, you have a winter wardrobe, for example, in a cold part of the world, whether it's New York, Washington, or Moscow. And then you are in Jakarta and you're running around for your, bushirts and things like that. Children sometimes have to change schools and lose friends, but that can happen in India as well.
Yeah, these days states.
And the children go to very good schools, to the best of international schools, so they make up for that. They also end up being what you call global citizens. That's the other beauty, that the foreign service officer does become a global citizen at the end of the day, in terms of mindset, in terms of tolerance, in terms of acceptance, a willingness to see humanity in all its colors and to accept, yet work for your national objectives. But the children also benefit a great deal. And there is so much to see in this, rich world of ours, which the foreign service permits you to do. There's also a fair bit of mutual respect between foreign service officers and the political leadership. I'm not saying it's not there in other services, but the comfort level with which the political leadership works with foreign service officers, in my view, is of a higher order.
I get it, sir. Since we're coming to the end of this podcast, I just want to ask you, if not in Indian Foreign Service, आप क्या करते इसके अलावा? What could have been your plan B?
Well, I always had a plan B and a plan C. It's very important in life to have fallback positions without allowing the non-fulfillment of your objective to derail you in any way. So life is not about being fixated on one thing. If you achieve your goal, well and good, but there's so much else that you can do, and you can prosper and blossom in any field in life. So my first fallback, if I didn't get the foreign service, of course, in the order of preference was the IAS. My next fallback was the IPS, because that was the order in which I gave my preferences.
And if not civil services?
And if not, because after the first three, I had left everything blank.
Yeah.
So then it was, I had done an MBA, so I would have gone into the private sector. I had been offered a commission in the army through the NCC C certificate route. I was a senior under officer, the 3rd Gujarat Battalion NCC in Baroda, located on the MS University campus. I still maintain my links with them. So I would have joined the infantry. And I had also toyed briefly with the idea of doing law. My grandfather was a barrister, and his lineage was one of barristers and lawyers. So that could have been a good profession. I might have even gone into teaching. It's a very noble profession.
Yes, it is. It is. But we were so glad to have you as an ambassador, as a diplomat, and you've done a lot for India. So what would be your message for the youth of this nation? If you want to address them, you can.
Well, I'd say work hard, respect your parents, respect your teachers, never forget where you came from, never forget your civilization, the values that your civilization has given you. Remain true to yourselves, work hard. You must have integrity throughout your life. So hard work, a combination of hard work, sincerity, integrity, and maintaining intellectual pursuits, this will ensure success in life. But never allow success to go to your head. Remember that you are ultimately aspiring to join the civil services in order to do something for the nation as well. Your achievements are not to be self-centered. There is something beyond that for the nation. I wish you success. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. This whole conversation has been very intriguing, sir. It was very nice, and we are privileged to have you here at LevelUp IAS. Thank you for the conversation and giving us your time.
I wish you well as well, Pooja. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure being here with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.